Hello, and welcome to Transcending Ascension today as we continue our journey with the Gospel of Thomas. It's technically our fourth part because our second part got broken up there. Might happen again as life calls me away. So we'll get through as much as we really can today, picking up where we left off in the Gospel of Thomas, the one of the best gospels in the Gnostic Gospels that we've been going through, where you can find and learn the wisdom of Christ consciousness for your awakening. And your awakening is more important every day than the last. It gets more and more vital as we begin to really start seeing the split offs that's going to happen, that already is happening, because we are converging to 5D and 3D for our lifetime. It's not going to, well, we'll see in 10 to 20 years, but for right now, it's more just of a psychological situation where those of us heading more towards the ascended timelines I'm starting to see stuff now, which is nice. Lights, colors, wispy beings, they're little like old Scottish wisps. I think it's them because they're blue and it's cool. And that's what the wisps of Scotland are. Like little sprites, little spirits. Who knows what exactly it is? It's just more coming in, more. Lots of people, and that was an early sign for me, hear the ringing in the ears. That is a frequency. It's calling to you. It's funny because if it bothers you, some people say it bothers them. I used to love it because it meant I was coming up, because it would specifically come in when I was having a certain enlightened thought as almost like a yes. And you'll find that your body will do a lot of things. Like I have a foot twitch that happens. If something, it's like the universe going, yes, like that. Yes. Like just to get you to see that what you just thought of is yes, because there's a lot of thoughts in our heads, especially if you're analytical like myself. So getting to pinpoint the ones that are of the divine is just amazing. It's beautiful. So here we go as we try to tap in to the divine ourselves. Let's get you so you can see the screen. Now let's get you a bigger one. There we go. Okay, so I think we left off with 27 because I remember talking about that. And I don't remember talking about 28, where we will begin today. Jesus said, I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them. I found them all drunk, and I did not find any of them thirsty. My soul ached for the children of humanity because they are blind in their hearts and do not see. For they came into the world empty, and they also seek to depart from the world empty. But meanwhile, they are drunk. When they shake off their wine, then they will change their ways. Now, this one I see clearly as drunk being like very egoic. So the being drunk is them being very in their ego. They are drunk. They are not thirsty. So they are full of themselves and they are not thirsty for the divine. And this is where you'll find like a lot of those atheist types. I was one of them. The intellectuals are, don't tell me about your silly God. I know everything. I'm so very smart. But actually you have nothing and you know nothing. Without the divine, you have nothing. You were better to be an uneducated dummy, or that's rude, but an uneducated, low IQ person that viciously believes in God. And you kind of see that in Christian churches, at least the one I tried to go to when I got into this, which I've talked about before. It was a lot of like lower IQs, but they were very for the Lord. And you could sense like it was more real with them than a lot of your like shika goddesses that are just so I just love. Ooh. Like they are fake versus those other ones, and they had addictions. A lot of them are addicts, and they just still, we're talking actual drunk here, but they still held that divine space. So they weren't even into esotericism, but they still knew God and the divine, because there's two ways. And I've talked about this last time, is you can surrender, directly surrender, and not worry about implementing any of the knowledge if you just fully surrender, which I don't really want to do. I don't know. Maybe I'm too scared. I tried. I don't know if I don't want to, or it's not my journey. I think because I want to be a teacher, I can't just surrender, because then I'm going to miss all these points. And it felt like I want to be a teacher. Like I planned this out. It's like a soul calling that I can't ignore. I knew I wanted to make a YouTube show As soon as I knew it was existed, and I went to journalism school, but then had no interest in actually working in the media because that was gross. And any of my placements in co-ops were just, I was not a fan. I did not enjoy it. It was torture. But I had this calling for YouTube, and I made like this one show where I only made one episode because it was dumb, because I had nothing to talk about, because it was when I was still an atheist and I still had different views than everybody else. Like I would still see politics and everything very clear. So, and I would see like starlit people and all that very clear. So I could have done something then. Maybe it would have woken me up from being an atheist sooner, but I could sense the vapidness in it. I knew it wasn't what mattered. And then I get into spirituality, and I didn't even it didn't even click in to do a YouTube channel right away until I don't even know, 2020. Oh, my mom got sick. She's now passed, but she got sick, and I think I was just desperate to find, well, God does things. I was desperate to find, it wasn't a conscious thing at the time. I just remember because it was also 2020 when the energies got way more. So I was like, that's when I became obsessed with making my show and obsessed with bringing you all the best knowledge possible, which meant learning things more clearly inside yourself. And you actually cannot, it even says this in many teachings. So it's funny that this happened because I was already teaching before I really came across this or more integrated it. Because you can, when you read as much as I do, you can read stuff endlessly. But then there's the difference between reading it and integrating it. This is why, like, I've read the Gospel of Thomas a million times, but even now reading it to you, like, you pull different stuff out every single time. So finding out that you can't actually be a proper student unless you're teaching, and being at the teacher level, which is where I am, it's just like barely a step above an adept. Like, so there's nothing like the initiate, adept, teacher, but master and all that is above teacher. So I'm not master level yet. I do work for it. I have master moments where I hit the right note in a meditation, and I will be like, I've had, like, I call them anointings. I don't know if that terminology just stuck with me, because the Kundalini awakening and the way they describe it, mine comes down. Like I had like the heat had me, and like the, and I've had a lot of like heart open tongue. That happens pretty much every meditation where I'm just like, woo, that pops. I haven't actually had the spine one. I've got real root issues though, like real, that's where mine, safety, right? I have very serious safety concerns. Not anymore, but like they exist in the past and I'm still working through. So I don't know if it's still blocked or what, but it's very healed. It doesn't really cause me a lot of problems anymore, but I haven't had that Kundalini awakening, which some people say is dangerous, but I have had anointings. When you hear the anointing described, it's the heat coming down. So if you know how energy works, you have energy coming up and you also have energy coming down in that toroidal field. I always love to talk about because it is everything we are. So I've had the energy flood down and heat hit my body and just be whoom, and like completely change thereafter. Like that was one of those amazing experiences. I've had a few, but that one was fairly recent and right before my mom died. So that was probably the God trying to, like, give me a little extra juice before that blow. She was 59, so ouch. And I'm only in my 30s. But that's okay. It's going to happen to us all. And she wasn't waking up. So this is the painful lesson we're all going to learn, is that you have to wake up or you have to leave. And then, I don't know, there's new stuff saying like our timelines are going to just separate so much. We're going to stop seeing them as here. So maybe she died in my world, but maybe her own soul's still living, but we're just going to, she in her world, I moved away, or, who knows with that kind of stuff. I've heard that you actually can live out your full life. And every time you die, Bashar said this, every time you die, you just switch over to a different timeline where you didn't die. So maybe she is still alive in a different timeline, but I'm going to separate off. And then I think I'm bringing my siblings with me. Getting you guys. Oh yeah. They're all atheists. We were all atheists. It saddens me that she passed as an atheist, because if you know anything about most mystic teachings teach this, but I'm mostly a Buddhist-ish now, I guess, because for everything I've learned, Buddhism is just the best one. And they say, if you're not prepared to die, especially if you're an atheist, so you're obviously not going to link up with the divine because you're an atheist. And as far as I knew, she was an atheist. I was there when she did. She was an atheist. So it is what it is. Don't be an atheist. Number 29. Ooh, let's switch back so you can see. Number 29, Jesus said, if the flesh came into being because of spirit, what is a marvel? But if spirit came into being because of the body, that is a marvel of marvels, yet a marvel at how this great wealth has come to dwell in this poverty. So the poverty meaning this body, because when Jesus first came around, like stuff was, you think stuff's bad now. Hello. It's livable because of Jesus. I could only imagine before, like it makes me sick. And I'm sure I was there because we all were. All those people, oh, I just came down to help. No, you didn't. You were here the whole time. Nice try. Yeah, you've been here the whole time, Starseeds. The whole time. And you're going to be here a lot longer because I doubt any of you are ready to fully enlighten. People need to get that chip on their shoulder of starseeds off because you're not doing anybody any good by being, I'm so galactic. My galactic federation is going to save the world. No, it's not. You need to. So the flesh, this is one of those beautiful things where this is like a true thing that you can know is true, but then getting it into your head is another matter. And that is that flesh came into being at the same time that we made God, at the same time God made us. And this one is like, so it's basically would mean that humans exploded into existence already existing. Like we didn't evolve, we poofed into existence already existing. Maybe the Adam and Eve, like he just made them out of nothing. Yeah, well, at that same moment, we made God at the same time too. And that's mind blowing. I don't know if I 100% believe it because it's not fully, I don't know. Because I can see the beginning of creation. Like I see it vividly. It's one of the things I can see. And I see it like the cell dividing and the cell dividing and the cell dividing of God, though, in a cosmic way. And I see that happening first, but like I'm still human, right? So I view time linearly. That's probably not a word, in linear time. So like I might just be seeing how that would have played out year after year kind of thing. But like in reality, that was just a boom. Like that big bang they talk about is kind of true, just not in the way they thought, like not even close, because scientists are really just philosophers themselves. They're philosophers looking information. And all you can do as a philosopher is have a bunch of facts and then go facts, and have them like you just try to use your divine brain, connect with God, which they're not doing. And then you synthesize the information and you put it together with God as your partner. And that is where you get your information. And when that comes into play, that might be very useful for the time you're in, but not as time progresses. Like those quite literally, possibly, probably, the early Bible stuff created by Satan, Yahweh, Satan, the demiurge, right? Um, they might have not been that bad back then. Like nobody would have listened if you were like, no slaves, because they have rules about the slaves and they have rules about beating your wife and they have, all these different rules that are like, why is any of that even allowed if it's divine? Well, one, it's Satan, but two, even Satan and Lucifer do things to progress the timeline of what the divine wants. Because guess what? If the all is the all, Satan and Lucifer are God just like us. In fact, they're probably a little closer because they're higher up beings, regardless of the judgment we want to put on them. So it is what it is, right? In that regard. But do we allow that to stick around? No. Because if we become our fully Christ-centered conscious self, then we don't need the polarities of Satan and Lucifer. And that's what the new age, the new world will be more about. For those of us splitting off into that timeline is less, if not, there won't be, well, because to get an enlightened, you need the divine marriage. But so you're not really going to be able to take so much Satan and Lucifer into the new world because they are the polarities in regards to our psyche, the yin and the yang, right? Like they are those, the Kabbalistic thought forms is what made it Lucifer and Satan. But I see the truth of that more than anything else. Like yin, yang, masculine, feminine are more gentle ways of looking at those two forces. But when you see them playing out in the world and the characteristics of Lucifer and the characteristics of Satan, it's easy to look around and be like, wow, this is Satan and that's Lucifer. Like Lucifer is the light, anything that's going to bring you up, anything that's going to, even crown chakra. I don't want to sell you my good crown chakra here, but then Satan is going to be like the root, the down, the lower poles, the earth. Not like the earth is satanic, but like material items, like that's all Satan. And then, but then it turns dark when atheism would be Satan's religion, pretty much. And did you know, like, Jewish people are the ones that originally, like, the old Bible and the Old Testament, that's all them. And it's clearly very satanic. And they clearly didn't talk much about or at all about heaven or hell. And in the Jewish religion, they don't believe in heaven or hell. What's that sound like to you? Does that sound divine or does that sound atheistic? And I'm not even saying heaven is the heaven that the other Christians painted. Like, it's not that either because it's endless realms, endless up realms, and endless down realms. Like, I'm watching the new show Has Been Hotel, which is amazing. And it reminds me of the book I wrote eons ago. I actually wrote it in high school and I probably never should have published it, but I did. It's embarrassing. I published it when I was going through my mental breakdown in 2013 because, hello, I don't know. I just felt this push probably to the divine, but instead I thought I took it in an egoic way and was like, publish that book you wrote in high school and didn't edit. So I did. And I didn't edit it. I never bothered because I was too busy with work. So it's filled with mistakes. But the story itself, it's very like, wow. And I'm seeing that play out in Has Been Hotel. And then South Park even went on to do stuff. And like, actually, it turned out South Park did it first. I just didn't watch South Park. I wouldn't have been allowed to watch South Park as a kid. I got into South Park as an adult. So it's just like that fact that hell was a living realm. Hell was a world where you went to work. Hell was a world where you had a life. Hell. We're in hell. So heaven and hell and the timeline split, like we're going to split. And it's like, it's not so much like we're the good ones and you were the bad ones. No, we're the ones who did the work and you're the ones who wanted to believe the media because, and then that's going to be your lower timelines are going to be your bionic timelines, where your higher timelines are going to be your sound healing timelines. And just know if you're awakening, if you were becoming more conscious, if you were becoming more aligned, and most of all, if you were just interested in self-responsibility, because it's going to be a rocky road. I was like enlightening for years before I finally authentically was a nice person to everybody. I was always nice. I've always been nice, but in a pushover way, like, oh God, okay, yeah. Now I actually say no more than I used to, which is hilarious because I have that authority within myself to be like, no, this is going to hurt my spirit, because you can actually, like, we all have that archetype, the prostitute, right? Well, that prostitute archetype is going to lead you, and then pair it along with the saboteur that we all have, wounded child that we all have. They're going to push you into saying yes when you don't want to. And then you're going to feel gross. You're going to feel used. You're going to resent that person. You're going to hate that person. You're probably going to gossip about that person. You're probably going to say, oh, can you believe Melissa made me do that? Did you tell Melissa you didn't want to? Well, no, but she should have just known that. I don't want to be bothered. Does she know how busy I am? No, Melissa does not know how busy you are, because she is also probably in the same mentality as you. Does this mean you should never ask friends for favors because they might get mad? That's also the kind of person I was. And also being a Sagittarius would feel that. Never asking anybody for help and always being the one to help other people made me think I was being this self-sacrificing Christ consciousness person forever. Like, and really slowing down my awakening when well, actually, I just said in 2013, I was an atheist. I was like, that's not when I had also not been an atheist before that. I came back to being into an atheist because it was just always easier to shut it off. Plus, dark beings were chasing me. I'm not joking. Jesus cured them and now they're gone, because when you come in your own power, they go away. But when you first start awakening, you can be swarmed. Just that's where you really want to call on Jesus. And you grow out of Jesus. Not that like Christ consciousness is always the way, but the actual being of Jesus is very helpful. He's a great dude. He's still out there like pulling people in and helping them en masse. So he is still with us and doing something, whatever you want to call it. Whatever that energy is, it's real. And it goes beyond Christ consciousness, because Christ consciousness is a place within just you where you become activated and aligned. And that is your alignment, right? That is your pathway to fifth dimensional living where we want to go, right? but Jesus, I have felt as a separate entity, and whatever if it was something else, but it kind of lined up with everything they've always said about Jesus. So I'm a fan. Okay. Jesus said, where there are three deities, they are divine. Where there are two or one, I am with that one. So that's just, again, well, it's funny, just talking, that's hilarious. So we're talking about, oh, I don't have you seeing it. So we're talking about like Jesus helping people where they're what's that mean? He's probably a deity now. He's probably deity level consciousness. He was probably already deity level consciousness when he came down to help us. Like there's rumors he was Thoth, there's rumors he's also Buddha, and Buddha was also Thoth, and blah blah blah. It doesn't really overly matter what you want to call him, and knowing timelines, he might have been a bunch of different things. So we know for certain though that Jesus was amazing. Jesus did great things. I believe like that whole story when he's on the cross, whether or not he died on that cross, I believe he ripped open time and space. Like there's the whole in the Bible where the heavens cracked down and poo came out of the sky. Like it's just bam, right? Or, like stuff. And then I think that was a whole waft of cosmic energy. And after that, they had what do they call it? The fire on the head. They all had their anointings that we were just talking about. They all got anointed. And that's where the evangelical churches, which is the one I went to for a while, they are obsessed with it. And it's funny because like they don't understand. And they all start talking in tongues. And this is where it's really embarrassing in those churches because they think you should talk in tongues. You should not talk in tongues. When they said they all understood each other, they were all from different countries and they spoke different languages. Hello. Talking in your demon language is not a good idea. I'm sorry, but it's not. That was really rude. But if you go to an evangelical church and you think they're like, I don't even want to repeat it to mimic them because that's demon language. Silliest, silly people. I don't even know much if the light language people, I can do that. Like, you get like that. Like I go around singing songs and you do start singing in different languages, but I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't trust other beings. I've had too much encounters with darkness, like actual dark entities to trust. I don't trust. This is why it pushes me though to be obsessed with my own sovereignty, my own alignment, and just talking to the direct connection I have with the divine and no other beings except Jesus, because Jesus kind of put himself on me regardless, but it was a welcomed addition. It's only love and light. It's very gentle where you can have beings that come into you and they kind of, you'll notice because Jesus never triggers the ego. Other entities will really trigger your ego and they can seem positive and then they can get you going. And this is a very early awakening thing too, but you'll realize you'll be like, wait, this isn't leading me. Like I've had inspirations to make like really serious videos that I actually put a ton of effort into, stayed up nights after nights after nights to make them. And they could have been amazing. But then I was like, that wasn't me. If you ever caught the video I made on ice cream and then the video I made on makeup, that wasn't my call. That was something else came into me and like powered that. And I don't know, maybe I missed a divine calling, but it wore off. And I was left feeling drained and exhausted and not in a good way. Because you can get like a good spiritual workout where you're like, whoa, that was amazing. And then you can get one where you feel like that prostitute, you feel like you were like, ooh, like taken advantage of. And the videos were good. I can't pinpoint what's wrong with it, except that it just wasn't me. You know, it just wasn't me. Something else got a hold of me again. And, you know, that was a bit ago, but like, it's like, you got to be careful. You have to be careful. You have to be vigilant. And if you stick to your own alignment, you got nothing to worry about. So here we go with deities. Yes, they are divine. But when you have one, when we are in that one alignment, that's the actual divine. That is the actual divine. When we are in our Christ-centered alignment. Like if you know your spine and the whole spinal column thing, Christ consciousness oil, it's all a thing. There's something to be said about the fact. And then if you know Chinese medicine, all our organs, blah, 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 are different entities. I think we're only the spine. Like our soul is the spine, the God connection, everything. It's like that spine, right? And then probably going right into the pineal gland and the spine. And then everything else is kind of like its own, it's us. But our direct plug-in connection is that alignment spine area. Okay, next we have Jesus said, no prophet is welcome in this home turf. Doctors don't cure those who know them. So that's actually, we talked about that on a previous one. where I said that he said that in the Bible, and that's funny. And here it is in this one as well. Because he says that in the actual Bible, and then it's here as well, because we talked how you see them in both, just like in the Gospels in the Bible. All the apostles wrote similar stuff. Some have, like, there's variations, but this is one of those ones you find in a lot of them. And this is just right now, like I'm saying, I said this before in the previous one, I'll just give you a quick. If I was to go talk about this stuff in my hometown, they would be like, "What? Aren't you that quiet emo girl? What? You talk?" Or my friends, who I never shut up to, I was like the exact opposite to my friends. Like, I was a little they they'd be like, "We can't take you seriously." Like, I was the fun one. They'd be doing homework, and I'm like, "Homework's stupid. What are you doing?" Because it was like, let's be honest, everything in school was not relevant. The only thing I liked was ancient history and English projects when I had a really good English teacher. But if you had a bad English teacher, I almost got 110% on for me. That was hilarious. So I didn't do my homework. And he even asked to keep it to show as an example to all the other kids. So that was like my most prideful moment in high school. Yay. Other than that, I didn't really participate at all. I went to class, was a nerd, but I didn't like, oh, that's when I wrote my book. I do think I wrote my book in class because it was honestly much more fulfilling for me than any of the other stuff they had to teach me. And I am not any worse off for it. I have a university degree. I have a college diploma. I'm a minister. I'm a life coach. Like, check, 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 check. Like, you don't need school. I still passed because I'm smart enough to pass. I did all the tests and still got good grades ish, passing grades. That's all I cared about. Because that's all that, that's all that really matters. High school teaches you stuff to dumb you down. Actually, all of school does. They want to start teaching kindergarten kids math. Like, hello, that's a bad idea. They're just, trying to compete with China. Yeah, okay. China's already selling their, I don't want to have the swarm of China after me, but like, they are on such sacred magic ground that I hold heavy hope for them, and that they're just going through a rough patch right now. But let's not copy their rough patch. Let's not. Canada is a joke. And I know I'm sinning for saying that, but I have to catch myself all the time using like talking about like I am American, because it's easy to forget you're not American because we don't have anything in Canada. Everything we do, Tim Hortons, yay! And we don't even have that anymore. America bought it, so thanks. Now we don't have anything. Literally, we don't have anything. That's ours. Our political system's stupid. Our prime minister's also obsessed with America. It's just embarrassing. Why aren't we just America? We're just like America, except boring. Literally, we're the exact same. And anybody that's even a little bit successful in Canada moves to America, leaving Canada just nothing but upper middle class. And it has Skechers. It doesn't get as ghetto-y as America, I've heard, though. Overall, Canada's all right. Like, it's got, BC is not, though. I heard BC is filled with crime. I'm in Ontario. It's cool. I even lived in Toronto. I don't know. I was almost attacked once, but I got away. So yay. And then, never again. Okay. So Jesus said, "A city built on a high hill and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden." Well, that one's extremely obvious. And that's the whole point of spiritual awakening. And that's just to make yourself stronger so that you are something that the divine just cannot not protect, like, and that anything else can't get you. This is why demons don't bother me anymore, any negative entity, because I have come to a high enough position, which it's hard to the ego, but like, let's just be honest, the dark entities are not attacking me anymore. And don't try, because I said that. I'm very scared of jinxing stuff. But the facts are the facts. I can sleep at night. I can get up and go to the bathroom. I still leave like one light on, but I used to like, it was a thing. It was a thing to like, not, for years, for my whole freaking life. It was always a thing that I would always have to turn back to being an atheist as a safeguard to protect myself, because being in base level spirituality it can be actually dangerous to be in base level spirituality. Like, don't touch witchcraft. Everybody gets into witchcraft at the beginning. Trust me, you're a witch regardless. I'm a witch. You are regardless, but don't do any spells. That's silly. Being a Wiccan or a witch is very low grade spirituality. You're going to be a witch anyways. You're going to do magic anyways, but do your magic in your meditations. Don't be doing spells. and a little, I do some candle stuff because, fire is, I want to just give the fire intention. I'll give my crystals intention, right? I direct my intention, which is a little witchcrafty, but don't do anything that's gonna, like, because I'm directing my intention. I'm asking the crystal for its intention to go here. I'm asking the fire for its intention to go there. That's very different than going, saying a poem, doing the specific things, and then saying, I want, and then saying the thing is that you want, because the way that's going to come about might not be good. You have no call over how that's going to happen. If you are forcing the universe to bend time and space for you, it will probably work. But there could be dire consequences, and you can't possibly list all but don't let it happen like this and don't let it happen like that. If you just direct your intention of what you want, and then you're in love and light always, it's a natural, like, white magic is prayer. That's where you're going to want to be. So a city built on a high hill, fortified, cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. A low-level witch is not on a high hill. And this is where girls can be more into, because I don't know, it's fun. But men seem to more natural. They less get into spirituality, but when they do, they seem to do it better. Shocker! Just like being a hairdresser or a chef, right? When they get into it, they do it better. That's just the way it is. But women get into it more because the feminine energy is just more naturally called the magic. So, but be careful, because you don't want to, dilly dally with that stuff. It will only slow you down for years, like it did with me. And you'll have stuff chasing you. This stuff was chasing me already, but it did not get better. And you can do all the protection spells you want. It doesn't matter. The biggest protection is the actual divine and staying aligned and coherent. So focus on that. Jesus said, what you will hear in your ear, in the other ear, proclaim from your rooftop. After all, no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, nor does one put it in a hidden place. Rather, one puts it on a lampstand so that all who come and go will see its light. Well, that just pairs nicely with what we were just saying. And that is, if you were a light, show it to the world. Like, what I'm doing to you right now. Look at me. I'm such a light on my show. But it's true. Like, I'm bringing you information. I'm not somebody that's phony, that's going to tell you, oh, just meditate every day and be all peace and light and everything is perfect. No, it's not. We're problematic people. You can tell the ones, like, there's that one guy, and I'm not pooing on him, but Aaron Abke, and he's like, teaches the miracles, and I like him. I followed him. I don't really watch his stuff anymore, but I still have respect for him. His dad was a pastor, and he became a pastor right away. But then he was called to esotericism and flew away, but he flew away still just as a pastor, still with that confidence. He's not really my type, because I like a grungier dude, but he is like the epitome of what a good looking person would look like. He's big and muscly, he's perfect. Doesn't look like he's had a bad day in his life. And it sounds like it too. It sounds like he was raised by loving parents and he's had a perfect life. So yeah, he's sitting there on probably making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, at least, running courses, making tons of money. And I'm sure he's like, done a lot of work, but this is where people get all mad at white men. And it's like, yeah, but it's like a lot easier for you. Try being like a little girl that can't talk clearly, that's not confident, that's raised with a lot of trauma, that is healing it all. But like, you are who you are, and to try to pretend, like when I made my earlier videos, I'm not so much fake, but I'm putting on my customer service self, because I did Apple tech for many, many years, and you have to, I did that kind of job for a long time, and you learn to adopt, like, of course I can help you with that, and trying to shake that off. Like, so it was a natural part of me, like in my earlier lessons when I wrote a script and I was being very teaching you information. I was probably a better teacher then, to be honest, but I don't know. I just don't like doing it that way. It is what it is. I did at the time. It was very good for me at the time, but I just can't seem to pull myself back to it. And anytime I try, it just feels fake and phony now. So like, that was authentic for me then, but it's like not authentic for me now. And that's how you have to do it. And that is living in that natural light that we want to shine everywhere, right? You can't be a natural light that shines everywhere if you are not being your authentic self, because that's not a light, is it? That's not a light. That's not your authentic self. If you are, you know, if you're not being yourself, you have to be yourself for that light to even begin to start shining. And part of that is admitting that you have way more trauma than you want to acknowledge. You can't bury it. And if you're a sensitive sparkle starseed person, you're going to be extremely traumatized. And that was on purpose, part of the game. And then, but integrating and transmuting that trauma is what's going to make you a higher level healer and a higher level teacher and a higher level light, because you want to be a light upon the world. Ooh, that just brought me up to another point to mention to people, because I've noticed, myself included, but another thing, you get your Wicca years, right? But then you also move on. And then when you get really good at it, you start to actually get really good. You do actually start to get Christ aligned, and you actually are becoming enlightened. But now instantly you want to heal everyone. Oh, I'm such a healed master. I want to heal everyone. I was doing that. And I was doing really well. I had lots of people interested. I had people saying I was helping them. I was doing really good. This is when I was a life coach. I also did healings in my life coaching. And they were very wanted, and people would ask. I got very, very, very sick. And they said I healed them so good. I read, though, that there's certain kind of healers that how they heal is they suck it inside themselves and then they just deal with it. I think that's what I do. So I stopped healing. So be careful just being a healer. Plus, there's the whole thing that you can never heal someone permanently. So like those people I healed might have gone around for a couple weeks feeling great, but that's all going to come, just like when you get a massage, right? That's going to come back. Or even when you see the osteopaths or even a chiropractor, they're going to help you in the short term. But until you integrate that into yourself and are acting like a changed person, then that's not going to last, because nobody else can heal you personally. Probably even Jesus himself, when he came down and let your faith heal you. Well, he said that, let your faith heal you. Why? Because you have to heal you. You have to heal you. And even said, I didn't heal you. Your faith healed you, But obviously he, added a little sprinkling of some power there, because if our faith could heal us and Jesus didn't need to help, we'll see. I'm healing. I'm autoimmune. Like it happens. I find starseed people, O blood, magical, O negative blood. But it makes me I don't get away with anything. I can't have a simple snack, or, ice cream is off the table, not allowed. Like so many things. It's nuts. You can tell too. My face will go in and out of being like puffy. Because every time I just have like a little bit of a treat, I just, ugh. But it is what it is. And it's part of the keeping you on your path and being a light unto the world. So where was I? Let's get you back on the view. Okay. So as always, I will, or I don't know if I'm out doing it every time, but I mean to every time to include the link to this in the description. So I will do that this time, now that I've reminded myself. I lost where I was. When to shake off their wine. There we go. So we're at 34. Jesus said, if a blind person leads a blind person, both of them will fall into a hole. Well, that one's obvious. And it can go into be careful who you're learning from, be careful who you take advice from. This is why, like I said in the first Gospel of Thomas, like I'm here, I'm going to read this through to you. I'm going to tell you my own divine inspirations based off my own intuition, because I'm incredibly connected to the divine. I always was. It was just muddied by ego. Like, this is why I was called a divine, even though I was raised as an atheist, because the connection's been there regardless. But that ego doesn't go away regardless of who you are. It never goes away if you're in a human body. Like, at least in Earth, we'll see when we get 5D. Let's compare notes. But right now, we all have ego regardless of how much we keep it real. Like, mine's a purring kitten. Doesn't usually bother me really about anything. And if it does, I'm quick to be like, and then I noticed it in two ways, in case like you want to find it in yourself. Two ways now with myself, as before, like I was pure ego and everything was ego, right? But as the years go on, now it's two things. So triggers will either be, you made me look stupid, but that will usually be because I was wrong. Why would I be so ashamed of being stupid? Because I was wrong. Okay. And then it's not actually obvious why was I wrong? It's not necessarily always a fact. It's just in a way you can handle a given situation, especially with 3 kids, right? Your own kids could be like, "Man, man," or my husband could be like blah, or my sisters love to pop, 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 which is, but sometimes that's like, okay, and I'll even be like to them, okay, tell me why. I want to hear it all. I want to hear it all. And you'll find that ego trigger, like because listen to where it fires back up again. And that's where it is. And I can't give an exact example because it's different for everybody, right? Like there's certain things I say, like let's say I'm too honest to my daughter about stuff, and they think I shouldn't be. And it's like, and then it's like, well, shouldn't I be? And then it's like, okay, but where's the line? Where do I draw the line? I have lines, and I'm not super honest about absolutely everything, but I think she should know about the world and what's going on and what kind of world she's coming into. I'm very clear to tell her, though, don't worry, our generation's going to fix it, not you. Like millennials are the ones foretold to be the ones to fix everything, the conscious collective changers, conscious conscious creators. We're the conscious creators that are meant to come down, and we already did, and fix it all. I don't know how. It's funny. It's hilarious because it talks about the millennials being lazy, and now it's our responsibility to fix everything. I just had a guy here yesterday that was supposed to put in better internet, and I asked him too many questions, so he mouthed it off to me. I'm not joking. Like, and he wasn't even a big, I'm a macho man way, even though he was big, but he acted like a petulant child. Like, do you want me to do it or not? You might as well just done this. Me. And then storm, have a great day. And then storms out. It's like, and I almost had a laugh. And my sister's she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Because it was like a big guy, but it's like, all I saw was child. I was a big kid because he was a big millennial. I think he was younger than me. I guess, and I saw someone younger than me say elder millennial the other day. I'm like, oh, but I'm older. I'm an elder millennial. I guess so. But that's okay. Okay, next we have if a blind person leads a blind. Okay, so Jesus said one can't enter a strong person's house and take it by force without tying his hands. Then when one can loot his house. Thanks for the stealing advice, Jesus. What a pal. um, yeah, that one's obvious, but I don't know why Jesus is telling us that. So if a blind person leads a blind person, oh, that's the whole one. Okay, let me go back and highlight the right one. So Jesus, one can't enter a strong person's house. So we're a strong person, somebody that's fully aligned. A strong person is somebody standing in their divine power, and take it by force without tying his hands. And then you can loot his house. I know what that means, but I don't know why he's telling us, unless he's referring to strong people. Unless he's just saying that as a warning, because so you have to look for people that are going to come into your life and tie up your hands. So for me, that is staying in alignment, because my siblings used to do that to me, and I love them, so I would still see them, but they would throw me off my balance, because like if you're going to get back into your old behavior with anybody, it's going to be your siblings, and we're very close, and we're all about the same age. Like there's only like 2 years between each of us, and only 1 year between my other 2 sisters. So it's like we're a cluster. We're very close. And but they would tie my hands, so to speak. Like they don't do that anymore. It's been a while. I can now stay strong regardless. There is nobody that can pull me out of, even if I'm slightly triggered, I have not been pulled out of my alignment in a very long time. Even if I'm upset, even when my mom died, I still stayed in alignment. I still monitored and allowed the sadness. So how you would tie a strong person's hands is you would find their triggers and their weakness. Oh, why am I teaching you this? Why is Jesus teaching us this? Unless I'm getting only an evil answer. This is some of that stuff where they're like, because they claim they excluded this stuff from the Bible because it wasn't trustworthy. So, but if they're right about stuff, I just want to throw up and not bother. Because if the Catholics, they're where I'll get judgy. The Catholics. I just stopped myself from tweeting this morning about like what's going on with the Catholics. Russell Brand is now a Catholic, and Jordan Peterson's wife turned Catholic. They're the bad guys in the story, people. We have a cosmic story that happened, and there was one clear villain. That was Catholicism. They went and stole everything from the pagans, killed them, and then put it in their own religion and taught it as their own thing. At least they had the divine feminine, unlike the Protestants. But they dumbed her down, making her only the mother when she's also, the maiden, the crone, and the mother. The divine feminines at all, right? The Sophia, the Bridget, the everything, right? The wild feminine. It's very powerful. So just calling it the mother is still tampering down the feminine. And then all their saints, yeah, deities. I'm not a fan. Did you know that St. Patrick's Day, there was never snakes in Ireland? There was never snakes. St. Patrick is the name Patrick throws me off though, because Patrick is an Irish name. So that's the only thing that's like, if that story true or not. But if you've heard this story, let me know. And that's that he didn't come there to kill the snakes. There was never snakes. He came there to kill the pagans. And they called them snakes. He killed off all the leaders of their pagan, because Ireland was actually the strongest hold. And it's funny because they're now super Catholic or Protestant and they still war against each other. Yeah, good job, Catholicism, because they were the strongest hold for but they had nothing written down, so they have nothing to go back to. They have nothing to like remember their lineage. And we all sense it with the Celtic, that Ireland was very magical at one point, but it was taken away. That was that whole St. Patrick's Day that we celebrate every year. Yeah, that's not to be celebrated, and they have us celebrate it. Do you realize how gross that is? They have us celebrate the murder of our people. You know what I mean? Like that would be my heritage. I'm in Canada. You're very mixed. If you've been here since before our confederation, which my family has, I could list off a ton of countries I'm from, but Ireland's not one of them that I've ever heard. My husband is, but I have Scottish lineage, and it doesn't even matter because I feel the call to the Celtic regardless. I used to even be resentful of them because they were so cool, and I was French and Welsh and Scottish, and I didn't think they were as cool. I've since learned Scotland's super cool, so that's cool. But Ireland is like the cool place, and barely a sprinkle of the magic exists thanks to the Catholics. They've done so very much, and they're still doing it. The Vatican still runs everything. Atheist Canada has publicly funded Catholic schools where only Catholics are allowed. It's just, I'm getting a sickening feeling talking about this triggered, but like, tell me how I'm wrong. I love this moment. I love being told why I'm wrong because it helps me integrate in my trigger. I can't integrate in my trigger until I know why I'm wrong. Why I'm wrong is that I'm putting somebody in a box. Yeah, some huge establishment that's still running everything. We're not even talking an ancient order here. We're talking current lived experience. They are still the problem. Why aren't we doing anything about this? I keep saying that. The governments too. Why are we even putting up with this? Let's go, like, just go in there. They don't have to be violent. Like, okay, sir, it's time to go. Let's go, Justin. Let's go. Okay, you're done. Why are we waiting another year and a half to do an election? I tweeted this yesterday. If the majority of if you're a free society and the majority of the population wants you out, why are you still there? That's not free. If one guy gets to stay in power when the majority of the population wants you out, then why are you still there? That's embarrassing for you. Nobody wants you there. What are you doing, one guy, when there's almost 40 million in Canada, which isn't that huge compared to other countries, but 40 million. Even if you wanted to divide that and take over half, let's go 26 million people. That's a lot of people that would like you out. Only a million of them would need to, you don't even need the trucks. Just walk on up there and go, let's go, sir. Out you go. Okay, you can go wherever you want. You don't have to go to jail or anything, but just leave the premises, leave the parliament. And I don't even think your whole group, we don't have to throw the liberals out. You want to leave the liberals? Fine. You all do it. I don't think it should ever be run by one person. That's never a good idea. That's very, very, very not smart. You want a new world, think of new things to do that have intelligent backings. That's not intelligent. I don't understand why that was ever implemented. And they say like they have their party, but they don't. They don't. The one guy's the boss of it all. His party's just there to what? Yes, man him. Oh, the shows they pull in there. It's laughable and embarrassing. It's embarrassing that it's still going on. And America's not much better. You got old man freaking Biden, and you got Trump, who is a cool-ish person. He did a lot for New York, but he's kind of a shizer. He is very egotistical. He's incredibly narcissistic. I do think he would always do the right thing for humanity because he wants to be worshipped as a benevolent God. Like he's obsessed with that. But that can actually work to the people's benefit because that man has connected to divine power, whether or not he realizes what he's done, because he's that self-assured. He might even be one of those rare people that are negatively polarized, but so he really shouldn't do it either. But he's going to be the better, stronger one person, but it shouldn't be one person. If you're going to, RFK is probably, Americans, RFK. Do it. I keep hearing fake stuff that he became Trump's VP, and it's like, ugh, because RFK would do me. I'm not American, but RFK, because he believes in what I believe in, and he's been an OG preacher of it forever, like health-wise. I don't know how he's a lawyer and he's intelligent, so I'm assuming he would do a great job, and he's an actual person. Biden and Trump are not actual people. They're both egoically filled narcissists that just do anything to get fame. Like, it's stupid. Like, Biden's already been caught way before all this, copying people's speeches and all this stuff. That just proves right there the guy's been a shizer for the beginning too. Like, they're not, both of them are embarrassing. Embarrassing. Okay. Next we have every country is probably the same, by the way. I just mostly know about America and Canada. I don't study politics. This is just the stuff you end up hearing regardless. Okay. I lost my place again. So sorry for podcast people that don't even get to look at the screen when you listen to me look for my thing again. Okay. Oh yeah. Jesus being evil. Where we start? I don't know. I don't know what that could mean other than like how to teach someone how to take down a strong person, tie his hands. I don't know why he's telling us that. Unless it's to beware of someone doing that to you. That's the only thing I can think of. If he's trying to warn you that people will come in and try to tie your hands first before robbing you, because I've had experience with that. Like I said, with my siblings, not on purpose. They don't mean to. That's just what naturally ends up happening with people that know your weaknesses and stuff. And they will get things like, there's psyopses that happen where people will instantly take you down if they see you shining. Now, I've been shining my light so long and so firm that they've given up trying to bring me down, or it's both, or it just doesn't faze me anymore. It's just you're so funny. Okay, people are waking up, so I'm going to say goodbye right now. We're not even going to go to the next lesson. We're going to end with that little evil lesson there. Let's leave that as our homework and find like a not telling us how to manipulate people lesson. Okay, but goodbye for now. Thanks for watching Transcending Ascension, and I'll see you next time when we continue the Gospel of Thomas. Bye.